Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is Charles, back with another installment of Charles Snyder Raw. It's unscripted, unfiltered, and mostly unedited versions of whatever I'm dealing with on a daily basis. Well, Monday through Friday, anyway. I take the weekends off. Um, Today, I guess the thing that's most uh, foremost on my mind is staying plugged in, trying to um, stay on task, stay plugged in, and stay positive because let's face it, stuff rarely works. And one of my biggest challenges has been in the process of moving the website and everything over to the new domain name, the new server, and everything. There's just a lot of little issues. And even after doing this for 20, 20 years now, I still run into problems, and I'm running into some rather annoying problems with the website right now. So, and yesterday it kind of came to a head where I started getting really frustrated with it. So, how do you stay positive? How do you stay on task? And how do you keep that, that apple, that carrot, that prize, that golden ring, whatever you want to call it? How do you keep that in perspective with what's going on? Well, sometimes it's not easy. The ways I've been working around it is like I talked about before is I've listed out, I thought about it at length, and I'm still lacking on actually writing this out. And I need to do it and have it like on my desktop or something so I can just look at that when I get frustrated at something. But anyway, I talked about it. I can't even remember which video it was. It was one of the ones I've done in the past month where I talked about listing out whatever your goal or your resolution is. And I just recently watched another, um, uh, when I get frustrated and stuff, I'll go out and I'll try and find, uplifting and positive, you know, stuff about business, marketing, what have you. And I recently watched well, actually, it wasn't so much watch, but listened to a speech that um, Alan, Christ, I can't remember what his last name was now. But basically, the guy was like a business owner, and apparently he's owned several large businesses. And he was speaking to a crowd. I'm assuming it was like in the mid to late 70s. And he had a few good points on there. One of the points that he made was really thinking out what you want. Be careful of what you want. And he was talking about like admissions into college. Getting into college now, you got to answer a lot of silly questions about all kind of abstract shit that usually doesn't have a whole lot to do with very much of anything. And while I am a fan of education, building skills, and learning, and especially learning from the mistakes of other people and not repeating the past, I'm also not very for the current structure of our education system, which is a complete wreck. It destroys creativity, and uh, it's designed to crush individuality. Anyway, I'm not here to get on to a philosophical rant about the shortcomings of our education system. What I am talking about, though, is as I talked about. Okay, let me restart that. I talked about before listing out what your goals are and listing what the benefits are, as well as what are some of the things that may happen if you don't attain that goal, or you do if you don't do anything to attain that goal, or if you do attain it, What are the consequences? What are the pros and the cons? And this speech, Alan, I can't remember his last name, talked about basically the same thing. What are the pros and cons of whatever it is that you want? Think about the repercussions of it. So, with that being said, again, I've been facing some challenges and stuff, especially with some rather annoying issues that are not real major in the greater scheme of things. And actually, they fall into that 80% of they don't make me any damn money. But it's an issue that needs to be addressed. And because I don't have someone to do that, because, Anne's focusing actually on the um, learning the customer service and the account management side of it, that falls back on me to do it because I don't have a web designer on staff. So guess who gets to do it? Anyway, when you run into those frustrations, whatever it may be in your business, if it is, dealing with website or creating content or doing your taxes at this time, this time of the year, you got personal taxes coming up, businesses, corporations and stuff, you're on a different schedule. You got taxes and crap to do all times of the year. You got accounting, number crunching, you got, BS that the lawyers take care of. Any amount of that can be extremely frustrating and put you in a negative mood. When you're in a negative mood, you don't grow, you don't make much progress. So, staying positive, how to stay positive, one of those things is, like I said, I like to read. I got all kind of books here. I got a little something here from Billy Jean. This guy's like amazing when it comes to direct response marketing. And here I am knocking my mic around and crap. I got uh, what we got here, russellbronson.com secrets. I got Cameron Harold double double. That's where I got the whole vivid vision from. And these are all, and that's just a tiny sample of like all the books and crap that I got that I plug into. Others I read. There's there's I have a crap load of books from like Robert Kiyosaki, and the list goes on and on. So that's one method. Fill your brain with good shit, that's actually going to help you or maybe develop a skill or something. Another way is Tuesdays today is training day for me. I'm on 3, 4, 5 different, webinars um, or conference calls and stuff on Tuesdays. That's all I do on from about noon Tuesday until about 8, 9 p.m. Tuesday. 8, 9 hours of nothing but being plugged into, the people that are, they're much further along where they have, what I'm going for. Uh, they have the bigger businesses, they have much better uh, marketing, or, they got better distribution, they got a bigger audience, whatever the case may be. I'm plugged into those people to learn their secrets, to add it to my business. And if it's applicable, I pass it along to Ann. But most of what I'm doing is I'm working on, number one, trying to stay positive because the past few days have been frustrating as hell. And number two, keeping on target for my great prize, that carrot I'm reaching for. My goal is, and as I kind of allude to, I don't really get into the numbers of it, but in my vision, basically in the back of my mind, I was thinking I want to get to the point of where our company is doing at least 10,000 a month in business, and I'm bringing on 2, maybe 3 more people to help out until Ann really gets up to speed, and then she'll be number 4 or number 5, whatever the case may be. And then I can start delegating some of this stuff out so that most of my time is actually dedicated to two things: vision, directing, the company and helping to get everyone moving in the same direction. And number two, producing more content, teaching more. I like teaching. That's something, again, going back to the whole, I don't really care for the whole education system. That's because, and I believe it was Robert Kiyosaki had actually put it this way: on a grading system, 70 and above is like passing, or at least it used to before we got into a really dumbed down society. But anyway, 70 and above used to be passing, which meant the top 30% were really good at learning in a classroom environment, sitting there and having someone dictate to you, what two and two equals four, and, the American history, the American Revolution happened in 1776, and remembering a whole bunch of useless facts that don't really do you any good other than working in a factory pushing a fucking button. What it doesn't teach you, and what I didn't have, and this isn't anything against any of my teachers, and this isn't anything against my parents or my family or anything, but when I was growing up, no one was talking about what it takes to to run a business, or financing, or investing, buying property. Those things just weren't talked about because no one taught them, and no one taught their parents, and no one taught their parents before them. That's my issue with it. So what I found is, and this kind of came to light in my years in the fire service. For many years, I was a captain, and as part of being a captain in, a fire station captain, was helping with the training and the orientation of the new people coming in, showing them where the equipment was, telling them what, showing them what certain things were, and screwing with them too. I did a little bit of that. But the thing, but I like doing that. I enjoyed doing that. I like taking them around. A lot of the guys, when I became a fire chief and stuff, I noticed that a lot of people don't really care for that kind of thing. I would say to the captain or one of the lieutenants, I was like, hey, take, we got a new guy coming in on, this date they're starting. I want you to go around, show them the equipment, get them oriented to the firehouse and, their assignment, and get them started. And a lot of people didn't like that. So, that damn phone. Anyway, I did. I like doing those kind of things, and I enjoyed that. It's going to annoy the hell out of me until I actually see who is calling. Oh, that might be a customer, so I got to give them a call back. So anyway, the moral of the story is I've, that's kind of when I figured out that I like teaching people stuff, instructing them in a manner that is useful. And number two, giving them information and skills that are useful. And number two, and doing it in a manner that is not like the educational system. I learn by doing, by touching, by feeling, trial and error, etc. And most people do. That's what the other 70% of humanity is good at. That's how they learn, is by actually doing trial and error. Remember going to, my whole talk about kids, learning how to walk and stuff? They didn't just suddenly stand up and walk like you and I do. They had, they had to get to the point where they could actually stand up. They get up and, their legs would wobble, and they do a Maggie Simpson on the floor, cry a little bit, but bam, they're back up and, working on it again. So that's kind of where, where my head's at, where I'm coming from. So I try to stay plugged into people like that. Number one, they have what I want, because I think it was Zig Ziglar said, we are the sum of the five people that we're most plugged into, or that we're closest to, or associate with the most. So I have to focus on more on plugging into the people that actually have what I want, which is why Tuesdays I spend so much time, um, staying plugged into these kind of things. And number three is I forget where the hell I was going with this. My brain's all over the damn place right now because I got about 10 minutes until I'm on these calls. But the general gist of it is to stay positive. You got to think about or list out the pros and the cons of whatever it is that you want. And you got to really sit down and think about how it is you're going to obtain that which you want, what is required to get what you want. And kind of brings me back to the whole statement of careful what you wish for. With that being said, I got to get out of here. So you have yourself a great day. Um, I'm I got a lot of stuff to do, so have a great day. I'm going to try and get this out as quick as I can while I'm on these conference calls. And love, peace, and chicken grease.